duties and responsibilities of a senator for this district, as well as just give us a little information about the boundaries and things of that nature. Also with us tonight, we have Jane Williams. Jane Williams will be the moderator for this evening. So at this time, I would like to turn it over to Jane. Jane, you can take it from here. You have the floor. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Rashad, and thank you, Ron. And welcome, Corenza. As Rashad has already said, thank you so much for joining with us this evening. I am Jane Williams. I've lived in Fulton County for the past 20 plus years, South Fulton
Okay.
County for the past 20 plus years, and I am a resident of District 7. So before we get started, I'll let you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
All right, great. But thank you guys for having me. I'm excited. I know it's kind of late in the evening, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to bring the energy to wake everybody up because I
All
need it
right.
myself. But yes, I'm Corenza Morris, and I am a candidate for Georgia Senate District 35. I'm one of the few that remains, but I'm a Georgia boy from
Ah,
Atlanta, raised here, born at Southwest Atlanta Hospital. You know, a lot of people when they say they from here, it's either they're a Grady baby, but I was born in Southwest, right down Fairmont Road. Went to school, K through 12, Fulton County schools, graduated from Banneker High School. Hopefully, there's some
ah.
Trojans in here. I know it may be a lot of Westlake Lions around, but my Trojans still represent the South Side. But after high school, joined the Army, served in the Army National Guard as a non-commissioned officer, as well as served as a police officer, going back serving in the same community that I grew up in College Park. There, I was an investigator, was promoted quite rapidly, did a lot of great work out there. I'm excited about the things that we did out there. And then I transitioned to become a business owner, providing employment opportunities for young professionals all throughout this exact district, actually. Had a brick and mortar business right here on Bolton Road in the Riverside area, as well as in Smyrna, where I currently live with my 4 kids and my lovely wife. So, yeah, so I'm just excited to be here. Look forward to our conversation. You can get to learn a little bit more about myself, my platform, and why I'm running for Senate. I look forward to our conversation tonight.
Great. Thank you so much. And thank you for your service. And also, I don't
Absolutely.
live far from Banneker, so I'm like right around the corner. I can walk to Banneker High School.
Okay.
But I am also, I was born and raised in Georgia, Loganville, Georgia, as a matter of fact. You may have never heard of, but I was born and raised in Loganville, Georgia. So you might hear the southernness come out of me just a little bit. All right, so let us get started. Did you say your background was insurance? Did you say?
I did it, but yeah, it
Oh,
is.
okay, okay,
Yeah, it
okay,
is.
great. Well, we're gonna start with a little health care, okay?
Okay.
You know, so much going on out here in the world. So, as of 2025, there are approximately 24.3 million people enrolled in the Affordable Care Act, right? ACA
Mhm.
market plans. With the government shut down, these tax credits could expire or become so expensive we can't afford it. The Republicans have tried to repeal or significantly alter the ACA since it became law for at least 12 years with nothing to replace it, right?
Mhm.
If the federal subsidies end, what policies, safety nets, or plans do you propose to mitigate these crises people will face in losing our medical insurance? Do I need to repeat that? It's kind of long at the end.
Yeah, it was pretty long at the end.
And
I think I caught it, but can you repeat the
I'll
question?
repeat the end, the question of it. Okay. So it's just talking about the ACA, right? If
Mhm.
it ends, what can we do in order for people to have some type of insurance? That's pretty much it in a nutshell. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I think that's a super fair question.
Okay.
My biggest thing is, if you're looking to end something or replace something, you got to come with something better. And that's
Yeah,
just the business mind that I have. Because everything can be made better, but you
that's
have
right.
to come with a plan. You got to come with an opportunity. And in
Mhm.
the state, we really have to, and this dives into the SNAP situation as well. We really have to make sure that we're able to protect the citizens of Georgia from fallout from DC. And
Right.
I say that to say because we talked about the surplus that we have that we can gear towards SNAP, but we can also gear that towards healthcare if
Mhm.
people are losing out as well, especially in our rural areas. Like we have places in the rural areas that's going to be super impacted by what's going on in the healthcare market. So I think as our senators have been doing and our representatives have been doing, we have to call out our actual governor to make sure that he's willing to step in when we need our state to help and step up.
That's right. Instead of saying, we're waiting for a rainy day. Well,
Yeah,
this
exactly.
is
This
a
is a
rainy
rainy
day,
day.
right?
This is a rainy day for us.
Right. Maybe we have different definitions of what a rainy day is, right? So, okay. Now we're going to move on to have you heard of maternal mortality rates before, or what women are
Correct.
going
Yes.
through? Okay, great. All right. So, and what I try to do is just give you a little background when the reason
Sure.
why some of these are kind of long. I try to give you a little background of the facts before I ask you the question.
Hey, I'm all for it.
Okay, thank you. All right. So Georgia has one of the highest maternal mortality rates in the United States. And Black women in Georgia are more than twice as likely to die from pregnancy related complications than white women due to a lack of access to quality health care, particularly in rural areas, chronic health conditions such as obesity, heart disease, diabetes, a lack of resources, and the House Bill 481, which is the heartbeat law. So in 2024, we had 3 Black women to die from a result of pregnancy complications. Amber Thurman, Candy Miller, and Adriana Smith. So, how do you, or what do you think we can do in order to prevent some of these deaths with maternal mortality rate?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, this question is a little deep, and I have a personal connection with that as well.
Oh,
Luckily,
okay.
we came out on the other side, but
Oh.
I have 4 kids.
Mm-hmm.
My wife and I, we have 4 kids, and our first daughter, we had some complications going on to where the nurse and the hospital itself, the doctors were pretty much neglecting her pain and her issues,
Mm-hmm.
as well as just overall neglect, honestly, to
Right.
where I had to really pretty much run out in the hallway and scream for a doctor to come in as the nurse told my wife to hold from pushing as the baby was coming out because she had another room that needed her.
Oh
So
my
we left
goodness.
there. Yeah, and with that being my first child, it was traumatizing. And
Absolutely.
and I'm a father. I'm not a woman that actually have to deal with this and going through the 9 months, thinking about, hey, it may be a chance because I'm a Black woman that I may not get to meet the child that I'm going to give birth to. So I totally feel as if things need to be looked at with a microscope to make sure that our Black women feel one, heard, protected,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
making sure that they're receiving the same amount of care that their counterparts, a white woman, should receive. And it doesn't matter about the wealth of that person, because we heard the same story of Serena Williams, who's
That's
one of
right.
the richest black women out right now. And she had to deal with that same issue. And I think it starts with one, training. We have to
Yeah.
make sure that we have nurses provided with sensitivity training. And I say that
Mm-hmm.
because in law enforcement it's the same way. You know, you get into routine, and a lot of medical staff, they get into routine, and you just another patient.
That's
Uh,
right.
and that has to end. We have to make sure that when we send our mothers and daughters and our nieces to the hospital, that they're attended to and treated as if their life is on the line, which it is. And as a state legislator, I definitely will make sure that I look into laws and bills, including that heartbeat law, to
That's
make sure
right.
that we address that, and make sure that
Thank you.
it's a law that benefits us and benefits actual lives and actual people, and not just another number inside of a check-in list.
Absolutely. You are right on the money with that, honey. And then, too, sometimes I feel that some things might need to be brought back, especially in the rural areas, where women may not be able to get to an hospital, quick enough for a complication or whatever it is that they're going through. So we might need to bring back midwives or have some kind of um, initiative, like you already spoke about training and stuff. So definitely that. But we might need to have some kind of mobile health clinics.
No,
So
I
we'll,
absolutely agree. You know, my mom, she may be on this call. I'm not sure. She probably don't want me to say this, but yeah, she was one of those that luckily it was a midwife in the house with her, because she was born in the restroom at my
oh
grandmother's house.
wow,
So
okay.
so yeah, my grandmother didn't make it to the hospital for her. So luckily they had someone that was trained and educated enough to deliver a healthy and safe delivery.
Oh, well, wonderful. All right. Well, thank you so much for that. Okay. Now we're going to talk a little bit about our public education and literacy. Okay, you got kids, so I'm sure
Oh, yeah.
you got four of them, right? Okay,
Four.
great. Four. So, Georgia, so studies have shown that children who are not reading proficiently by the end of third grade are 4 times more likely to drop out of high school than their proficient peers, and worse with our young boys. In Georgia, only 38% of third graders are reading proficiently. 66% of fourth graders are not proficient in reading. Georgia is ranked 33 out of 50 states in literacy. So, now this session, Senator Rashawn Kemp was instrumental in getting Senate Bill 93, the Georgia Literacy Act, passed, which equips teachers with evidence-based reading instructions. In other words, instead of the current strategies used to teach students to guess rather than read, which will prevent them from reaching their full potential. So here's the question: what else can we do to ensure lifelong learning, growth, and success in all aspects of our young children lives? What else can we do?
Yeah, that's a real big one right there. And
That's a
and
big
and
one.
shout out to Senator Kim,
Yes.
Alpha Man, getting it done, leading the way. I love it. But like I said, I graduated from Banneker, and I know
Mm-hmm.
when you gave out the stats, you said that um, males tend to drop out,
Yeah.
but they
Mm-hmm.
also are able to still graduate not
That's
knowing how to
right.
read,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a problem. We have a big problem with that, and it definitely needs to be addressed. And one of the things that I feel is needed when we talk about childhood literacy is
Mhm.
centered around collaboration from the parents.
That's right.
When it can when it can be done. A lot of
Right.
situations, parents are not able to be involved, but collaboration with the parents, and we need to make sure that our kids are provided with the resources and tools that we're able to make sure that they are proficient in reading. My daughter, I have the capabilities, but a lot of parents don't, and that's where the role as a state senator comes in to
Mhm.
find where are the dollars to support this. But I'm able to send my daughter to tutoring Kumon, which
Mhm.
I seen drastically help her reading to where she was reading above grade level. Every
Wow.
child in the state of Georgia needs those opportunities. You
That's
know, every parent, unfortunately, would not be able to pay for extra expenses centered around that. But that's where, as a state legislator, we have to find where are the dollars to do that. Because a lot of times, you know, the teachers are pushed out with you got to hit this quota, you got to hit this benchmark, and a lot of that stuff do get looked over. And I think
Mhm.
that's another reason why teachers should definitely be paid more and incentivized when we're not able to pay more. Because as a business owner with several employees, one thing that I've always realized is when you take care of your people, they'll take care of you. And as a
Mhm.
parent, that you part is our kids, and our kids is our future. So I think the other part of that is taking care of our teachers, and I think they'll be a little more bought in. We have great educators across the state, but at the end of the day, it's still their job, it's still their career, and once they get a little more perks and incentives and a little more bump in the pay, we'll see the results.
That's right. Thank you so much. And since you was talking about teachers and their pay, what can we do in order to get more money for our teachers and try to reduce maybe some of the classroom size?
Yeah.
So what are some things, I guess maybe you were talking about that too, maybe it's where our senators comes in with that too, right? Or there's some kind of legislation or something that can be passed?
Yeah, in its collaboration with our local school boards, and definitely making sure that we update our QBE formula that's older than I am. Um,
40 years. Let me
right,
just get 40 years old, okay?
right. So
1985. That was in that.
it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yes.
But like I say, basic incentives. If we can throw money at everything, then you know let's do it. However, the reality is sometimes the funds just aren't there to throw money at an issue. But when it comes to it, when I speak about incentives, I'm talking about simple things and that can just get us through to the next year or
Yeah.
to just buy some times. And I'm talking about simple stuff. Like I strongly believe that if a educator lives in a county in which they teach, there should be no reason they're not incentivized with
Um,
stipends for their water bills or electricity bills or just something to incentivize that person. So that's the type of stuff and initiatives that I push. Just regular, real deal incentives to make sure that people are taken care of. And it's not that hard.
right. Uh-oh. Oh, hold on one second. Okay. Thank you so much. And I was thinking the same thing too. If the teachers live here, we should have maybe just like Habitat's home. Maybe we could build some kind of homes where they can have a home and get some kind of incentive for that as well. So we're on the same wavelength there.
Absolutely. When
Okay.
I was a police officer in the city of College Park, the same
Mhm.
city I grew up in, one of their biggest incentives was if you lived within that city limit, then your utilities, you receive a stipend for your utilities. Man, now that's a when you think about, especially we just had our election last
Mhm.
night. When
Right.
you're thinking about utilities being, you receiving a stipend for that, that's a big bump in pay when you really think about it over the
Right.
long haul. So little things like that can be done. We just have to do it, make sure
Mhm.
that people are taken care of.
That's exactly correct. Thank you so much for that. Okay, so we're gonna outskirt now. If anybody have any questions, you can raise your hand and put the questions in the chat. Okay, good. All right. So now, what measures would you take to address our state homelessness problem?
Yeah, and it's big. It's big too, and especially with our veteran community. At the end of the day, they're the ones that really deserves to be housed. And
Right.
the thing
Thank
about
you.
it is there's a lot of organizations, civic organizations out that's doing the work, boots on the ground, in which they are the ones that need the support. Everything can't always be, our lawmakers making sure that things get done. However, our lawmakers have the unique ability to, as I said before, find the dollars. Find the
Find the
dollars
dollar.
and find the resources to
Okay.
support the people that's doing the work for our citizens.
That's right. Thank you so much for that. And I see Rashad, he has his hand up. Okay, Rashad, you can go ahead.
All right, thank you. How have you had an opportunity to look at the city of South Fulton charter by any chance?
The City of South Fulton Charter, no, I haven't looked at the City of South Fulton Charter. What's the question surrounding?
All right, so do you have an opinion about this question keeps coming up about whether we should have a strong mayor or we should have a weak mayor? Do you have a position as to if a city like the city of South Fulton should have a strong mayor or a weak mayor?
Okay, and when you say strong mayor and weak mayor, what is that in relation to?
All right, so
So,
that's in relation. Jane,
no, you can go ahead.
okay. All right. So the strong mayor concept is, I'm sorry, the weak mayor concept is where we have a city council form of government where the city council is the part-time policymakers, and
Okay.
then the city manager pretty much runs the city
Mhm.
and makes a lot of the decision and controls the day-to-day operations of the city. So, do you think that? And so the question was more around: do you think that the city, the mayor should have more authority in our city than he does? Because right now, as it was told to us previously, his duties is to shake hands and kiss babies. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, and this for me not having the opportunity to actually read the charter. I'm big on making sure that I have the full context around it. But from what this conversation just said, I believe if the citizens elect the mayor, they are electing someone to get the work, do the work, and get the job done. However, it is checks and balances. A city manager should be the C yeah, they should be the COO of the city, the operating officer, making sure that everything gets done day to day. But the mayor should have some type of say so as long as it goes through city council votes and stuff. So hopefully that answered the question, but I don't want to go too in detail without having a full picture of what I'm speaking on.
All right, and then thank you for that. And then my last question that I have for right now. A few months ago, we had this challenge in the city as it relates to the millage rate cap.
Mhm.
Have you did you hear about this at all?
Not directly South Fulton. Tell me about it.
All right, so our millage rate. So we're building a police. I'm sorry, we're building a police headquarters and fire training facility.
Correct.
So as a term of the loan, to get better terms of the loan, it was explained to us that they needed to remove our millage rate cap so that we would get better terms for the loan. Residents were opposed to doing this. But the city council said that they were going to use the home rules power and they were going to remove our millage rate cap against the wishes of residents. So if you were elected and you were in the Senate and this came up, how would you handle a dispute like this where residents wanted on the ballot for residents to decide to remove that millage rate cap, whereas the city council wants to supersede the residents and just do it on their own?
Yeah, anything like that, I strongly believe has to be on the ballot and voted on by the people. That strongly affects the citizens itself. So I'm a strong believer on it needs to be brought to a vote with the residents of the city.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Rashad. Okay, so lately I have been hearing about some Republicans or one that's running for governor wants to or have pledged to eliminate the state income tax. So while others are focused on the rate reduction, can you help me to understand, if you know, what we can expect if this happens and what are the concerns about eliminating the state income tax?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
Thank you.
Pretty much like I had this question not too long ago, and we had conversations around it. But I'm a strong believer of, hey, let's get around the table and hash it out for one,
Mm-hmm.
because at the end of the day, we can't go off what other states' outcomes have been,
Mm-hmm.
where when we have representatives that's able to come to the table and see how can it be beneficial to the state of Georgia. Because when you speak to business owners and you speak to, as I've been doing throughout this campaign trail, and you speak to homeowners, a lot of people are in agreement that they will like to see a system that a state with no income tax. So I would like for us to actually hear both sides of the debate. And I'm the type of person of common sense lawmaking. If it makes sense and it benefits our citizens, it benefits the state of Georgia, I'm all for it. But if not, I, I'm not for it. So I would like for us to actually bring it to the table and actually have discussions around it.
Oh, okay, thank you. Because from our state income tax, um it helps with some of our social services, right?
Correct. Hmm.
And our property taxes and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it has to come from somewhere else, right?
Right,
So,
yeah.
so that's what I'm saying.
That's right. Yeah.
We'll have to really discuss this and make sure
Yeah,
that it's beneficial
that's
and not
right.
just rush some to keep up with the Joneses.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much. Okay. So, one of the beauties of South Fulton is our historical agricultural land, right? Yet we have food deserts. So, how can we tap into the resources of our farmers who are having a hard time to create food sovereignty? In other words, create something like a the cab farmers market.
Okay. So yeah, so
Do I
you
need?
think how do South Fulton get a South Fulton farmers market?
That's right. Yes.
Well, listen, I'm a strong believer of buying local, staying local, and
Mhm.
we do have farmers with the ability to do it. Shoot, we see them all on the corner
That's
of
right.
at the gas stations, bringing their produce up from the different farms, selling it.
That's right.
Where we used to have on Herschel Road right there before you get on Old National for years and years. It was a farmer. He had a little shack stand and he used to bring up all his produce and everything from his farm and sell it. And that thing stayed full and he accepted food
EBT as
stamps.
well?
Yeah. Mhm.
What?
So I think the biggest thing is, and we done seen it before. I think in this right down Bolton Road, someone had a concept similar to that as well. One is just about partnerships and collaboration with the farmers and who will get the stuff from. But we also would need to find where to house the infrastructure for something of the size of a Forest Park or the Cal County Farmers Market. But
Right,
I don't think it'll be hard to have some partnerships with farmers to sell some produce in the city of South Fulton. And it'll be very beneficial because like you say, it's food deserts. And then if
yeah,
you're able to bring fresh foods, which kids need, instead of all the fast food and McDonald's, then
yeah,
it's a win for everyone. And I think both, no matter what side of the aisle you sit on, both sides will be able to get with that. Supporting our farmers, supporting the
mhm,
local businesses, that's a win-win for everyone. So
yeah,
that's something I think can definitely happen as long as the right people are planning this out. People like myself who
yeah.
actually have some startup business experience, able to negotiate and actually get deals done because businesses they run our state and we need more businesses, but we need to make sure those businesses reflect our demographic and not everything outside coming in.
Right, right, right. Maybe we can start bringing in some of those warehouses or data centers and get some of this stuff done. Anywho. Okay, so all right. Now I've been had this question too. Do you think that minimum wage should be increased and should we also have a living wage?
All right. So you say you should. I didn't catch the last part.
Minimum
Should.
wage, should minimum wage be increased? You know, the federal minimum wage, I think is like $7.25.
Oh, so the thing is,
Mhm.
I agree with affordable wages. However, in the state of Georgia, 99% of our businesses are small business.
Right, right.
99% of our business, small business. If we go in and try to regulate, because I even heard some wild numbers being thrown out at like 27 minimum $27 an hour and stuff like
What?
that. You
Okay,
know, you have to be careful because our goal is to make sure that small business owners' doors stay open.
that's
And
right.
we need to make sure that when we're throwing out increasing minimum wage, that it's sustainable for small business owners. Now, affordable wages, yes, you need affordable wages. And I go around by saying that 725 is the base wage. However, if a company is paying people $7.25, they need to also have some type of tip
Yeah, okay.
situation to
Hmm.
increase that pay. Similar to I think, yeah, similar to Florida, where the minimum wages, I can't remember the exact number, but what
Hmm.
most companies do is they pay the 725, but you're guaranteed based upon the tips that you bring in to make
Right.
that minimum. So we have to plan out something similar to that because like I say, and we call a lot of business small business. However, I'm a big advocate of we actually need to have a different classification of businesses, such as micro businesses and small businesses, because majority of our small businesses in our community are actually micro businesses, and they won't be able to stay open if we jack up minimum wages outside of what they actually bring in.
Exactly. And I think you're exactly correct too with the tip minimum wage is because people do kind of subsidize the minimum wage with the tip wage, and that's a guarantee that you get the money that you should be getting. So to help you out.
Yeah,
Okay, great.
absolutely.
So thank you so much for that. So now if you are elected as the next senator for Senate seat 35, right?
Yes.
Now. What committee? I know you can't really choose the committees that you would want to work on, but what are some of the committees that you would choose to work on, at least two?
Yeah, that's great that you asked that. As I sit here, I've been in super campaign mode, knocking on doors, speaking with people 24/7, and just trying to make sure that everyone gets out to vote on November 18th, with early voting starting already at through November 14th.
Mhm.
But I have been looking at a couple of committees to go
Mhm.
into, and one is and excuse me if I misnamed the committee, but the
Okay.
insurance committee is one. That's one of the things that I have a background in insurance, and especially with this tort reform being passed, we definitely need some watchdogs to make sure that we are
Oh, that's
holding
right.
these insurance companies accountable for what they were lobbying, that they were promised that they'll do if
60,
the
Senate
reform.
Bill 68, that's right.
Correct. If the reform was passed, they made some somewhat promises of what would happen and the benefit of passing it. So we need some watchdogs. So that's a committee that I definitely have experience that I would love to be on. And the other committee is I think the Labor Committee.
Oh, yeah.
And that's centered around what we pretty much just talked about, just making sure that our workforce is being supported. And with me being a business owner and employer for the past 10 years, that's something that I'm definitely interested in and think that I can bring value to the conversation.
Very good. Thank you for that. Now, those are some excellent committees right there. Okay, I see Rashad hand up again, so we're gonna hear from him, okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't have a question, it's more of a statement
Oh,
for the audience. I just wanted to remind the audience if you would like to ask a question to Mr. Morris, please use the reaction button and raise your hand. Back to you, Jane.
okay, great. Thank you so much. Okay, I don't see the person that was on here the other day, but we've had some questions about um a plant. I don't know if you've heard of this plant before, but it's called Sterigenics. Have you heard of that plant?
Oh yeah, I've heard of that plan. That was some major conversations when I actually purchased my home here in Smyrna.
Oh, wasn't? Okay.
Yeah,
Now,
absolutely.
what do you see? Because from now, I used to work for a commissioner who tried to get this building shut down, and I know it's two buildings. It's one in Fulton County, Fulton Industrial, and it's one in Cobb County, right? Now, the
Yes.
one in Cobb County has had several suits, and but they still remain open, and they are producing, these chemicals that causes cancer. So what do you think what else can be done in order to either shut down this building or at least get it to where it's not producing some of those um things that cause cancer?
Yeah, and situations like this is just like shows like the bad side of business,
Mm-hmm.
because at the end of the day, as a state, we want to make sure that we are bringing in corporations to produce jobs for
Right.
our citizens. But at the same time, we have to make sure that they're playing by the rules and they're playing fair and that they're fully regulated. So one of the major things I do, and I know work has already been done or
Mhm.
attempt to be done, but we have to continue to hold these companies such as Sturgeon's accountable for
Right.
the environmental effects that they may have. And one of the ways that I say we should do that, and especially moving forward for situations like that, we need CBAs. We need to make sure that when these corporations are coming in and they're developing these risky type of businesses, that we're actually getting something out of it. I think the meme with Denzel Washington, I'm leaving here with something. Like we have to make sure that we leave with something. And when I
Man.
say we leave with something, we need to make sure that when if they're producing pollutants or potentially producing pollutants, that
Mhm.
we actually have transparent testing documents and information that's being done to make sure that we can form our own watchdog committees to hold them accountable. Because right now we have our we're relying on our legislators, we're relying on our representatives, both state and local, to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do. But is this directly affecting the citizens? So I think that full transparency should be had to make sure that we're able to, at any given time, go to their website and see their last testing report. And it should be continuous. As long as they're in business, this should be done on a continuous basis. And we should make sure that when I say we're getting something out of it, that hey, it's a potential that this plant could harm us. So we
Mhm.
need them to spend X amount of dollars to go towards this program or this initiative every year to make sure that the citizens are benefiting and not just a one-sided situation.
That's exactly correct. Thank you so much for that. Okay, so another issue that we have been experiencing with our new government is that freedom of speech is honest freedom of speech is being attacked, right? So in June of this year, an Atlanta journalist, Guevara, was detained and he has now since been deported because, of his honest reporting. So, what can we do or how can we protect our freedom of speech and our Latino population?
Yeah, so yeah, I've briefly heard about that situation. It's very unfortunate,
Mhm.
because one of the things about it is, when I raised my hand and said our defending our country and stuff like that, one of the things is you're not able to pick and choose what it is that you want to represent when you think about our country. Freedom of
Right,
speech is one of the things that everyone is entitled to in our country. And if that's not protected, then we're not the United States of America. Point
right,
blank, period. And especially what's going on with rounding up our Latino brothers and sisters, that's it. It absolutely cannot be done. And as a state senator representative and just a citizen and someone that worn a uniform and a badge, I would not stand for any of that to happen under my watch. And even if not elected, I'm talking right now. If I go out my door, I would not allow that to happen because that's not the country that I was taught to be. That was not the country that I said that I'll defend. So it just shouldn't happen.
exactly. And we talked about healthcare earlier and some different things that can be done for, to kind of like bridge the gap if, our ACA is eliminated or stopped or so would you support expanding Medicaid in Georgia to close the coverage gap? And what is your plan or what do you think might be your plan for getting that done?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely will work towards expanding Medicaid. But as a freshman senator,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not naive.
I know that's right.
I can get on here and say I'm gonna do this, this, and that, but at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, you have to really put in the work to make sure that things get done.
Right,
Senator
right.
Kent was a freshman senator that was able to get
Mhm.
some bills passed, but
Right.
that comes with bipartisan buy-in. That comes with collaboration. And over the past 10 years, buying, scaling, and selling businesses. That's one of the traits that I do have, the ability to be able to work party lines to get things done. But I definitely will do any and everything I can to expand Medicaid.
Mhm.
Yeah, but as a freshman senator,
Oh,
you
I understand.
I'm not gonna.
Even in being a senior senator, you might not be able to get it done. But the thing about it is that you work or develop a rapport, or like you kept saying, a collaboration with people to see if it can get done, and don't give up. Just keep fighting. So I understand exactly what you're saying. Now, we've had a couple of hospitals to close, in
Yeah,
the past few years.
yeah,
And so how do you see, and all this is not like, you're going to get in there, you're just going to be able to get everything done. No, it's just an idea of what you think you might be able to do in order to get some of these things done. So what about a hospital? How, you know, um, would you work towards trying to get, well, I know we got Grady coming over here, right? So
yeah.
Grady has
Mhm.
an emergency um facility coming, but what else can be done for us to, get a hospital in rural areas? Because I know that there was labor and delivery that's already been shut down. I think that was in on the other side of Athens, Georgia. So, what are other things that we can try to do in order to get some coverage or get a hospital or something? Because we're going to have to be innovative, creative, and it's not going to be business as usual with
Yeah.
some of these things that's going to be taken away from, or that has already been taken away from us.
No, and and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but as a business owner, I'm looking for entrepreneurs to come with the solutions. And that's what
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurship is about. We have a lot of we don't have a lot of hospitals, but we do have a lot of urgent cares, and we can privatize those clinics and urgent cares to fit the needs of the community, based upon what it is. So I would go in looking for that private sector. And when I say private sector, I'm talking about actual entrepreneurs that's able to open a 3,000 to 5,000 square foot clinic that can go in a strip mall, that's able to service people, and that can also provide their own form of health insurance in a form of subscription payments.
That's right. That's right. And two, I have a niece, I mean a cousin. Okay, Quasar, I see you. We're gonna get to you in a few minutes, okay? Because I have a niece as well. And sometimes we may have to get people who are, like you're saying, some of these businesses, but some people that we know to perform some of these services that we need. Like even if it's just basic, checking your vitals or different things like that, then we just might have to get some of those people to go into some of those businesses or buildings that you're talking about. Yeah. So thank you so much. Okay, Quasar, you're next. Let me see.
Good evening, Miss Jane. How you doing?
I'm
Good to
great.
see
How are
you.
you?
Oh, pretty good. Doing a good job.
Good.
How you doing there,
Excellent.
Mr. Morris?
And I'm pretty good about yourself.
Pretty good. Pretty good. Thanks for being here tonight. You know,
Yeah,
it's
thanks for having me.
a long day after election day yesterday. I know it takes a lot to be here, so I appreciate that. Um, I wanted, Miss Jane, you actually answered, we asked my question in a certain way there.
Oh, I
I
did.
have another question about data centers, but I do want to kind of add on to what you just was talking about with the hospitals.
Okay.
So one of the big reasons that we are not getting a hospital in our area is because of a law surrounding the certificate of need.
Oh,
Are you
yeah.
familiar
Mhm.
with that certificate of need law, Mr. Morris? And if you are, what would you do, to help reform that law so that we can get hospitals there? Because right now,
Mhm.
we are able, I don't think 24-hour, 24/7 emergency rooms, I don't think they're not ruled by that con law. And I'm not sure why our city hasn't, pursued those. But as far as a normal hospital, they are, kind of keeping those away from us as a city of 110,000 people. What would you do as our senator to fight for us to have a hospital here? Because Fairburn is not South Fulton.
No, no, I
Okay.
No, I totally agree with you. And at the end of the day, collaboration, compromise, always the my answer as far as getting things done. And South Fulton does deserve a, I'm sorry, that popped up. South Fulton does deserve a major hospital. But my thing is, if we are able to come together, because everyone cares about the same thing. Everyone cares about safety, opportunity, affordability, and they care about health. But I haven't looked at the actual law around certificate of needs. So that's something that I'll definitely explore because I grew up, like I said, I grew up in College Park all around. And I remember South Fulton Hospital being open. I actually lost my grandmother there. And to know that we're not able to go down the street to a hospital, you have to go all the way to Grady. That is a problem. Do I have the answer for it? I do not have the answer for it. But what I do have is I do have the drive and the actual motivation to take care of my people to make sure that once elected and I get under that gold dome, that I'll definitely fight to make sure that we work towards getting a world-class hospital in the city of South Fulton and or somewhere closer in South Fulton.
Okay, does that answer your question, Quasar? Okay, oh, he's muted. Okay, so thank you for that answer. Thank you so much, Mr. Mars. Okay, we have a question in the chat coming from Patricia, and she wants to know, will you be willing to work and or support legislation on homeowners association reform? Example, Senate Bill 107, 108, oh, really, it's 106, 107, and 108. Yes, so.
Listen, it's I don't believe in coincidence, but
Mhm.
today I have bags under my eyes because my wife and I have been fighting with one of our homeowner associations tooth and nail with lawyers and
Mm,
everything today. So
wow.
I am a strong believer that HOAs have too much reach, they have too much authority, and
Mm,
it needs some type like and I don't have the like I say, I don't have the direct answer on how they should be regulated, but we
mhm.
definitely have to regulate
Yeah.
HOAs. That's something that has to be done, and I definitely will be on the forefront to make sure that HOAs is regulated because the way that they are able to just do whatever they want to do, and you have community members, and a lot of times that stuff is all about abuse of authority. A lot of people don't know how to handle power. A lot of people
Hmm.
when they get in these positions, they want to take out their anger on people that don't deserve it. So I definitely believe that HOA should be regulated at a state level.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Okay, we got a question or statement from Rashad. And then it looks like we only have about 7 minutes, so we're going to give you a few minutes to wrap up. But it's 7:53 now, and Rashad, you have the floor.
No, I was just gonna do a time check because I know you have a
Oh,
hard stop at 8 o'clock. We had
yeah.
scheduled to 8, so I was
Hmm.
just gonna mention that. But back to you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Quasar, did you have another question?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Okay.
So my question is a little bit about development authorities. There was
Mm-hmm.
a law, I don't remember that law that actually created them or gave them a lot of power. I think they have way too much power. So my
Mm-hmm.
question is, development authorities like the Development Authority of Fulton County, they're granting massive tax abatements through the pilot deals and that drain money from our schools and local services. And
Mm-hmm.
as a state senator, would you support legislation to require state level oversight or public disclosure of the true tax losses from these deals? And I'll give you an example by using data centers.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I need to drinking water. I'm sorry, but yeah. So as far as data centers, uh, they're giving the Development Authority of Fulton County has given quite a few pilot programs to data centers, some being in South Fulton County. And what they do when they give these pilot programs, the land that they give the pilot programs to becomes public land, which in turn, in whatever city that is, let's say if it's in South Fulton City, I think one of them is in Union City right now. What happens is if that data center or that big business is buying land here, and we're getting, and the development authority is getting in the middle of that, and they're taking what they tend to do is they save these businesses money by making that land public through pilot programs. These programs are definitely, they're coming directly from the development authorities, but the law that allows the development authorities to be able to have that kind of power are definitely is coming from the legislator. So my question is, how do we keep these data centers or major big businesses that are coming here on pilot programs? They're already getting tax incentives from the state. They're moving into our cities, and they're saving 40 to 90% on their property taxes by going through these particular pilot programs. And what that does, it takes money out of our city tax roll. It takes it out of our city bank account. So a lot of sometimes they come in here and they do this stuff, and they do not tell the city that they're doing it. They just kind of, we're the county, we're doing a deal with the people with the land, and we'll let you guys know about it. So my question to you is, how do we stop that? What will you do as our senator to make sure that we're in on those deals and we're not the last people to the table, when, for example, like we don't have hospitals, we don't have things like that, and with these kind of programs and with our tax dollars that belong to us, we could get these kind of things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I totally feel for that. One of the biggest things is it's all about transparency. And I think when deals like this happen, we definitely need to make sure that we have community advisory groups in place that's able to answer not even answer, that's able to hold these development projects accountable. And we definitely would never want to make sure, we definitely don't want to leave out the local municipalities and overrule them, because at the end of the day, it does affect citizens. So one thing that I'll do is to make sure that we have an auditing program that's fully transparent to the citizens that it directly affect, especially when you're talking taxes, because I'm a strong believer that larger corporations should always pay their taxes and subsidize the actual citizens around, and it shouldn't be the other way. So as a state legislator, I definitely will make sure that that this program is beneficial to the actual citizens. And I think that's where I kind of hinted towards, to make sure we have community benefit agreements. And those
Mhm.
are just straight out laid out terms of, okay, you're going to develop here on our for lack of words, on our turf. We have these guidelines, and you have to abide by these, whether it's helping out with different developments, that community developments, whatever it may be, that'll come in partnership with the local municipality. But we definitely have to make sure that we have some type of community benefit agreements to hold these corporation developments accountable.
That's exactly correct. Thank you so much for that. Okay, we're gonna have one last question before we wrap it up, and that's coming from Tamiko. So Tamiko, you can go ahead with you can unmute yourself and go ahead with your question, okay?
Greetings. Thank you for coming on and answering questions tonight. I know I'll make it quick. So, a lot of times grant funding is sitting out there and it has to be applied for at a state level, but it doesn't always trickle down to the counties or local municipalities. So, how will you help one, the state apply or work with the cities in order to apply for these? And a lot of times, those state grants, when they come down, they're already connected to who they're going to get a funding to. How are you going to make sure that cities are aware of this funding and they're part of the grants when it's time to apply?
Yeah, and I think that's one of the responsibilities of a state senator, is to make sure that your people are receiving the monies and benefits of what's allocated towards them. So that's something that I definitely do, and it's all about making sure that we have collaboration with the local municipalities. We have what, Smyrna, City of South Fulton, as well as City of Atlanta, and just make sure that those relationships are in place, to make sure that we're tracking the dollars to make sure that they're going where they're supposed to go.
Very good. Thank you so much. So we have come to the end of our conversation for the night, Mr. Morris, and we want to thank you so much for coming and sharing your conversation with us. And so we're going to give you your last few minutes to wrap it up. Tell us why we should vote for you, and then explain to us too about Senate District 35, because I know the way that we've had to vote in Senate Bill 35 has kind of been a little trickery, right? Because
Yeah.
we had the November vote, you had your early voting to overlap with your early voting for the Senate 35. So, and I had a friend today said, well, I said, well, if you go vote, you got to vote twice. And she said, well, wait a minute, I voted, blah, blah, blah. I said, well, did you vote twice? She said, yes. So she's good. So if you can kind of explain that too before you close up.
Yeah, absolutely. First, I want to thank you guys for having me. It's an honor, especially to be on a call with people that care about their community, care about their future. Because I care, and that's the main reason why I'm running. Like I say, I'm one of the few that remain here after school. Went to high school here, college here, started businesses here, raising my family right here. And I definitely feel as if my background as a business owner who, for like I say, the past decade, I've been buying, scaling, and selling small businesses, going to a deal table with my own dollars on the line, my family well-being on the line. And I was able to make sure that I always left with a deal closed in the best interest of my family and our business future. And that's what we need in a representative under the Gold Dome. We need somebody that knows not only the impact and needs of the entire district, but we also need somebody that's able to get the deals done, that's able to work both sides of the aisle, that's able to make sure that at the end of the day, the people of District 35 are taken care of and not just someone that's filling another void or checking off another box on their career path. So I'm asking you to visit my website, votecorenza.com, learn a little bit more about me. My phone lines stay open, so you can send me a message and we can get connected. Like I say, thank you guys for coming out and hearing a little bit more about me. But early voting is through November 14th. You have to go to the early voting sites. And on my website, we do have where the early voting locations are located at. And election day is November 18th. Some people did have the opportunity to vote early for both elections, November 4th and November 18th election. But some people didn't. So make sure you check. You can go to your voter registration page and you can pull the history of your voting and just see if you voted. Because I know it's confusing. Shoot, I was confused for a little minute. But you can go and check and see if you voted for the Senate District 35 seat. And thank you guys for having me tonight.
Thank you so much. Rashad, did you have anything else to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you, Mr. Morris, for coming out tonight and speaking to us. And thank you, Jane, for moderating for us. On the 10th, we will be back with Roger Bruce. So we look forward to continuing the conversation for Senate District 35. And everybody have a good night. Thank you.
All
Thank
right. Good night,
you.
guys.
Good night, y'all.